After living 1 month all across Guatemala, from Antigua to El Paradon, we wanted to share everything we wish we knew first so that you don't make the same mistakes we did, or at least you're better prepared. At the end of the video, we're also going to share some bonus tips and the itinerary we wish we would have done, so you want to make sure you stick till the end to take notes of that if you ever plan on visiting the beautiful country of Guatemala. You've arrived at your destination. It's our last week in Guatemala. Honestly, I'm excited to go home.
Me too.
Yeah. We love traveling. We know that it's a privilege. It's amazing. But I think there's also something really cool about going back home and...
Yes.
Thank gracias. And like seeing all your friends and your family and going into sleeping in our bed.
I'll miss the fresh juice.
Yeah, the fresh juice are awesome, but we can make them at home too.
True.
Yeah. Okay, so today we're going to talk about all the things that we wish we knew before coming to Guatemala. Guatemala was like not on our itinerary at all. Turned out to be an adventure. Yeah, that's the right word. Turned out to be an adventure. And you guys can learn from our experience spending a month here.
We started off in Antigua. We did all the adventure sports around there. Then we went over to Lake Atilan, spent 2 weeks there. No, what was it? 2 weeks in Antigua, 1 week in Atilan, and now 1 week here in El Paradon, which is a little surf town on the coast.
Yes. So I feel like we have a really good general overview of Guatemala, and that this advice will be really useful if you plan on traveling in Guatemala anytime soon. Okay, let's start with money. That's a question that we get a lot. So first things first, Guatemala is a place where you want to prioritize cash. 100% cash everywhere. Every time we try to pay with our cards, they charge us fees. The fees are ever changing. Sometimes they're like, it's 6%, 5%, 8%, 10%, 12%. And when you pay cash, there's no extra fees. And it's a lot easier to negotiate too.
Yeah, and with the tip propina, they'd sometimes add it just on the bill, regardless of whether you've enjoyed the meal or not. So don't expect to put tip after your meal. It was usually on the bill.
Yes, they charge a 10% or 15% service fee, which is usually they divide between everyone.
ATMs.
We didn't have any problems with the ATMs, really. Just once. So we've been paying between, I'm going to say, like breakfast is between 50 to 80 quetzales per person. And for supper, we've been paying between, I'm going to say 80 to 100.
And 50.
And 50? Yeah. 80 to 150 quetzales per person. So you can expect roughly that for food. And for accommodation, Guatemala has definitely been on the more affordable side of things. In Antigua, we decided to do a Selena just because we didn't want to mess around. So that was a bit more expensive, but we quickly looked and there was a lot of affordable options. So for the month, I would say that you can end up paying between 1,000 and 1,500 CAD for the month if you...
That's for double rooms, not dorms.
Yeah, for single rooms. If you plan your trip right, yeah, I think that's fair. That's fair to say for a month.
Wi-Fi.
Okay, let's talk about Wi-Fi.
With the Wi-Fi, you need to make sure that you've got a decent connection. So if you can get a Selena co-working spot that's solid, Airbnbs can be hit and miss. You're also more guaranteed it in the bigger towns like Antigua. Lake Atilan, we didn't have an issue, but here in Paradon,
horrible.
Beach surfer town, village, not even a town. And yeah, we've been struggling really, really bad.
Really bad.
Power outages.
No options, not a lot of internet cafe, not a lot of places that do have good internet. It's been hard.
Not a lot of places inside that have AC.
Also, yeah.
So try working under a fan in 80% humidity.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's tough. So El Paradon, I would say definitely not a place for digital nomads. It's a great place to travel and chill and surf and all those things. But if you're working, I would not recommend. Let's talk about transportation.
Getting around's quite easy.
Yeah, I felt that too.
Safe. We didn't use the chicken buses. Avoid them if you can. Heard horror stories there. A lot cheaper. But minibuses and private, shared shuttles are quite affordable.
Yeah, for example, we've been paying between 50 and sometimes like 70 USD per person in Costa Rica. And here it's between 20 and 35 USD per person. So that's a huge difference. The best way also, like when you're, let's say here in El Paradon, you needed to grab, like to go somewhere further, there's tuk-tuks. It was the same thing in Panajachel and Antigua as well. Tuk-tuks was definitely the preferred way of
Getting around town
internally.
Reliability, though, on the minibuses, we've had like 2 occasions of one minibus setting on fire and the other minibus losing the 2 front tires. So there's that to be said as well.
Oh my God, I was totally gonna forget about this. How could I? That's so true. Reliability. Questionable. And the tuk-tuks also, it's not like in Costa Rica where they're like, hey, we can call you a tuk-tuk. It's like, if a tuk-tuk passes, you'll get a tuk-tuk. But other than that, you might have a hard time.
Yeah.
But there's always some around. So, yeah.
Okay, language.
Yeah.
How's it been?
People don't speak English here. So if you don't speak Spanish, it's going to be sign language, Google Translate, and trying your hardest to make yourself understood. So make sure you know the basic Spanish words and the basic like Spanish things to ask questions like how much and where is this and things like that. But people don't speak English in Guatemala. Okay, is this a destination you would say for advanced travelers, backpackers, or digital nomads?
Backpackers.
Yeah, I agree. So I think that Guatemala is 100% underrated. It's been a really cool surprise. Some places have been really surprising. Personally, Acatenango, the hike, was one of the highlights of the trips for me, and I don't regret coming here. However, I definitely feel like Guatemala is not to the point where it's a digital nomad destination. It's more like backpackers, adventure-driven kind of travels. And I think if you want to find affordable luxury, you can too. However, the gentrification is real here. And I have to say that Guatemala, I think, for me personally, is the place where the gentrification is the most obvious. You'll have these immense, beautiful villas next to a dumpster, basically.
Quite literally.
Yeah, quite literally. So there's that. Something else that I have to mention is, in my opinion, of the countries that we've made on this trip, Guatemala is the one, I don't know how to say it politically correct. You're British, so I'll let you say it.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
Dirtiest.
The dirtiest.
Yeah.
The dirtiest.
Well, that was not politically correct, but hey, what can we say? Like, there is a lot of trash on the side of the roads, on the countryside, in the water, on the beach, in town. I think it doesn't really matter where you are.
In the mountains.
In the mountains, even. Yeah. So be prepared for that. It's not the cleanest. It's not the Costa Rica, the Panama. It's definitely a bit more on the rough side of things for that. The locals, what do you think?
Yeah, friendly.
The locals, I think, are like friendly and helpful. But again, it really helps if you speak Spanish. If you don't speak Spanish, you're gonna scramble. We haven't made any local friends here. And I definitely felt like a barrier.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's because we don't speak Spanish. So
Yeah, exactly.
that doesn't help.
Yeah, exactly. There's people. So we're gonna stop this. And we'll get back to you because we're in a restaurant. We're going to eat. So we'll get back to you with the rest of this list.
2 hours later.
back in our room with no other people around. That can be so uncomfortable, like YouTubers in the wild. Okay, let's continue this list of things that we wish we knew before coming to Guatemala. Safety concerns. Personally, a lot of people had been telling me how Guatemala is unsafe. If you look at the government page, they're also rating Guatemala as an unsafe place to travel. And I cannot stress enough how safe I felt everywhere here in Guatemala.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it depends where you go in Guatemala. I'm sure a lot of other places are unsafe. I think there was advisories from the government. It's more to do with the civil war that happened not too long ago. So they've been stuck in the civil war for like since the 1960s. But that has passed and it felt super safe. We never had any trouble on this trip.
As a whole, safety, honestly, 10 out of 10, even at night.
9 out of 10, like you gotta still be.
Yeah, you gotta be smart. You gotta be careful and smart. But Guatemaltec people don't strike me as violent people. And I never felt threatened, even at night.
Guatemala City surprised me because everyone says you gotta avoid that city at all costs. But when we did avoid it, but when we went through it, it seemed a lot more developed than I thought anticipated, and like clean, and like parts of the city even looked like Toronto. It was closer to the airport, but even places in Costa Rica, like what's the capital?
San Jose.
San Jose seemed dirtier, seemed more poverty, seemed more dangerous, if anything.
Totally agree with that. Here's the itinerary that I would not do if I knew everything that we know now. So Antigua, 10 out of 10, highly recommend. Such a great destination, easy to work from, great variety with food and things to do, activities, like great. Panajachel, I would actually avoid. It's a port. There's not that much to do. It felt a bit, how would you describe it?
Rough around the edges.
Yeah, it felt rough around the edges. And after visiting other areas around Lake Atitlan, I feel like we would have had such a better time in San Marcos or... We'll have to write it down.
Can't remember.
San Lucas? Yeah, can't remember the name. We'll write it down here. Those were the two towns where we felt like we would have had a better time, and it's definitely worth exploring towns around the lake. They are all so different and so unique one from another. It's unbelievable. So if you have the time and the opportunity, I would highly recommend that you move around a lot around the towns and like kind of see the differences between every single small town around Lake Atitlan. But San Marcos was a huge I wish we would have stayed here.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes. And now we're in El Paredon, and I think it's great, but not if you're working. So if you want to visit the coast, it's a cool little surf, sleepy kind of town. I think it's also fair to say that the surfing is not for beginners. You went into the ocean, so.
Yeah, it was like, well, we just had a storm last night. So, but mind you, before the storm, it's like a washing machine waves. It's got massive rip tide, rip current pulling you in. We were speaking to a girl who lives here, and she was saying like it's been the strongest current for the past 9 years. So yeah, and there's jellyfish as well. She had quite a few different sting spots. So yeah, it's rough. So I don't think it's ideal for beginners.
Yes.
Right now, anyway.
So El Paradon, definitely visit, but if you don't have to work. And then we've heard great things about Flores. So if you get the chance to go visit Flores, I think I would have added that to the itinerary as well. It's a shame we didn't get a chance to go on this trip.
Yeah, totally. That's where you can get to see the Tika ruins, which I'm sad I didn't see.
Here's one thing, really, guys, I wish I knew. In Antigua, in Panajachel, like almost everywhere, you're gonna see these local women with like tissue, like they're carrying like scarves and tissues and purses and all sorts of like cute little swag things, and they all say the same thing. They all say, handmade, handmade, handmade. And I really felt for that. I 100% was like, oh my God, these women are hand making these scarf and these beautiful purses and all of this, all of that. I went crazy on purchasing. Thanks.
You got a soul too.
Yes, I really think that one of the biggest solutions to gentrification is encouraging local economy. So obviously I was like, oh my God, like I'm going to purchase directly from these women. The money is going to them. Like, yes. Then we did the textile and ceramic tour. Ta, ta, ta. And I learned that it's not handmade.
They're great salespeople.
They're
They say.
they're great salespeople, but they don't handmade. Most of the things is like made by machines and it's made in thousands of copies. And I think they have like a couple of sellers and then they purchase it from them and then they resell it. So don't let them fool you when they're like handmade, handmade, and they will negotiate the crap out of the prices for you on the premise that it's handmade. It is not true.
And they still sell it for not cheap.
Yeah, it's still cheap, but
Well, it's not cheap.
well,
$50 for a belt.
yeah, the belts are really expensive. But like the kitchen table thing we got for like what, $20?
$20, $30.
Yeah, I don't know.
Start at like 30, 40.
Yeah, I don't know if that's expensive or not. Like it is actually. It's the same price we would pay in back home in Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, and I was like, yes, but it's handmade. So obviously I don't mind paying that price, but that's not true. And just so you know, it's part of the culture to negotiate. It's very expected here. We literally had people go from like 500 to like 100.
Yeah. If you walk away, they'll bring it right down.
Yeah. So you can definitely redefine your negotiating skills here and don't let the whole handmade thing fool you. It's just a great marketing tactic from these little women.
So the tea, yeah.
Quick stuff. The water is not drinkable anywhere in Guatemala, so you have to buy water. In El Paradon, the humidity is the highest we've ever experienced. So take a room with AC 100%.
Another thing is the mosquitoes are absolutely aggressive. I've already got 2 on my face right now just from going to have supper, and that's me putting 50% DEET on my body. So like, they go to town, especially here in El Paradon. Be safe.
Last but not least, I feel like it's our responsibility to tell every traveler and future traveler out there to always get travel insurance when you are traveling. You never know when something can happen to you, and it doesn't only happen to other people. Luckily, on this trip, nothing horrible has happened to us, but we always buy peace of mind with travel insurance. And the one that we are currently using is Safety Wing. It's made by digital nomads for digital nomads. So for us, it's a product that really fits our needs. I personally have the electronic add-ons. So if my work laptop, my camera, anything like that gets stolen, it's going to get reimbursed.
And they also have an adventure add-on, which is super useful. But I actually found out that a lot of the activities they already cover is in the base package. So even on this trip, we're in Guatemala and we're hiking Fuego active volcanoes and doing hikes of up to like, what was it, like 3,000 meters?
It was 3,900 and we were covered.
And we were covered on the basis package, not even needing the add-on, which I thought we would need. So that was super cool to learn.
Yeah. And it's pay as you go. So we basically signed up. I signed up the day before, which is usually such a huge problem when you're shopping insurance. And because we didn't know our return date, we get to cancel it when we go home next week. So that's really easy, really flexible. It's been working great for us. And we just feel like it would be really irresponsible to promote travels without also talking about getting insurance when you leave your home country. So I think that covers everything that we wanted to mention about Guatemala.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely worth the trip. Still a very underrated destination.
Yeah, and undiscovered. So go visit it yourself and discover what Guatemala has to offer in your own eyes.
In your own eyes. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to support this channel. So stick around. Thank you again and stay safe, guys.
Ciao.
Bye.